lot of meetings this week, but yeah.
How's your next week look?
I think pretty good next week.
Let's set up a meeting where we go over
It's
what
open.
we might present on the 15th.
I am fully open all week next week. Yep.
Only thing I see is Commissioner on Friday.
Yep. So,
So I'll coordinate something,
okay.
because that's creeping up on us pretty quick here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You
Okay,
gonna,
didn't mean to cut you off.
you gonna bring your golf clubs when we go?
No, I don't have any, I used to.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work.
You know, I used to be a really good golfer. I don't want to brag or anything, but one of the kids got a golf scholarship. I used to beat him.
Nice.
My dad was part ownership of one of the golf, you know, so I grew up, I was a Caddyshack kid. I was kind of
Nice.
spoiled. But then I got to develop this slice, and then I got so angry every time I played.
Been there, been there.
And then somebody cut my Achilles, and I quit the game. That comes from Caddyshack. And you just cut him there, and when he goes back, and he'll quit the game.
That's very
No, anyway, I developed it. There was no fun anymore because I was so mad all the time.
Well, you come with us, you'll have fun, trust me.
I will have
We'll
fun.
have a good
So we had somebody in here talking about the flea market at the Busy Bee.
Ah, yes, we
When-
did see Mark Petrie.
Yeah. Well, when is this structure going to? Do you have any idea? They just
So we need to talk to Sarah because Mark did ask for an extension. Because he's gonna do, I think the auction's like the last week of May or first week of June, something like that. So, once they have the auction, then it takes them about 2 weeks to get everything out of there, more or less.
Okay.
So he was hoping that if we could give him an extension through June, basically, so we
There's
gotta.
probably no harm in that as long as he doesn't take the horse.
Yeah, he ain't touching that, he's not getting that, so. But, so we just need to talk to her, see if she's okay with that, and then we would basically still do our same plan of opening up for bid in June or whatever for the demolition of it. So,
Okay.
I haven't got back to, I believe, Mr. Brewer called earlier this week when we were in Red Lodge about it, so.
He might be a contractor.
Yeah, I think he's gonna wanna put in a bid for it, so.
So maybe late June, that building might be down.
Probably we're thinking more July,
I would
August.
say probably, yeah,
Okay, okay.
probably late July is.
Because we'll also have to give time for, part of the bid package is gonna be whether the sheriff's department is gonna come and disassemble that cooler.
Yeah, done with
Or
this,
we're gonna have
some of those
somebody else come
salvage
do it.
items.
Yep.
Yeah, same with like the AC units on top and that, so.
Yep.
But you can't think of any reason why we wouldn't let him continue to have the flea market. Can you?
Nope. I think the only thing is since it is, in our property now, is they just need to write, a little contract and whatever Ben says for like liability and that.
Well, we have liability, that's a good point, but
Yeah.
we've added that property to our part of the county for liability.
waiver of liability.
Yeah. So, then that way if somebody rolls an ankle or something happens down there, we're not responsible for it. No, I don't see a reason at all.
Absolutely.
And then Petrie had said that, they'd have to come talk to him or whatever, but they could probably use the restroom there
Okay,
at the B when they're doing it.
This
so-
year anyway.
Yeah. For one last year, but so.
but we don't wanna become like a San Francisco. The mayor would love that.
Yes, definitely.
Go in the bushes.
They have more, they have a map where they have all the human feces and.
Yep. Yep.
The boy, yeah.
Yeah, they got an app for that nowadays. It's crazy.
Where to avoid walking.
Yep.
No, that's
No.
true.
It's an actual
That's
app
absolutely true.
where,
Come
yeah.
on.
It's so
100%.
prevalent, it was
Oh,
became so
I've been
prevalent
there, I've
that
been there, I know.
you had to,
Subway.
Yep.
somebody
Tram.
create an app.
Yeah,
then- Also, when I talk to Sarah, I'll see about when she thinks that FEMA will release the funds then for the reimbursement.
Very good, very good.
So-
You know, that's the largest check I've ever seen.
I bet. I bet.
Just to let everybody know, I've got a little power.
Yeah, let it bounce.
Which shouldn't have surprised you.
They're looking for you.
Well, you weren't supposed to write it out of your personal.
Yeah,
account.
well, I tried to get him to transfer to my account. I said, you can put this all on my account, I'll write the check.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do
We
it.
never see you again.
I was gonna say, if you got a points based reward card or something.
Right.
You only gotta get away with it once is all.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I diverted, go ahead.
No, that's all good. Yeah, so that's kind of the main DES stuff that we did this week. Fire side of things, haven't had a call in, well, until this morning, it was 10 days. So, which is good, but kinda got all the equipment up and ready, set up. Mike came over and met a couple of firefighters on Monday.
Really?
We were out doing some training, so.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're getting ready for that. I think the plan is April. Let me pull it up real quick. In April 26th, we're going to go ahead and do our normal joint training evolutions. So we'll bring all the county fires. We'll come in town. And we'll burn the river walk, clean it up again.
Okay, excellent.
So, and then probably by about that time, the grass should be kind of fairly green, so it'll be a really low intensity burn, just kind of burn out the rest of the stuff down there.
You're gonna wanna pick a windy day.
No,
That gets the best training.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
It definitely gets the best training. That happened the first time we did that,
Yeah.
but it worked out well. And then I'm working with Clint to, hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, we'll be down there to burn the fairgrounds, so on that little island, just north of the corrals there. They wanted,
Yeah, that needs to be cleaned
Yeah.
up too.
so we're gonna try and do that before it rains too much, so we can basically just kind of nuke it and start fresh for them.
Speaking of mitigation, fire mitigation, do we know how Wendy's doing on her grant?
They're still on hold with her grants. Sounds like there'll be funds available. They just still on that stopgap until, I wanna say was the mid-April.
Okay,
But, I'm glad you said that. So officially, that way this is for the record, on Monday, we will come in with the road department to officially open the public comment period for the Community Wildfire Protection Plan.
beautiful.
This serves as the notice of our intent to open it on Monday.
Community
Very good.
wildfire,
Protection plan.
CWPP.
Thank you.
I forgot all about that.
No, that's
CWPP.
really good.
Yeah.
I have a neighbor that was a logger, and there's people interested that if she gets that grant on contracting to do this thinning, so,
Mhm.
Perfect.
if there's any way we can help her, we're
Absolutely.
behind her, you know.
Absolutely. Let's see here. So that's the fire side of things. Rural addressing.
Did one?
Excuse me. Signed one new address and then 2 address verifications this week.
Does it feel like things have slowed down with people moving here? Or?
Yes.
We'll do it, yeah.
Yep. It definitely feels like slowed down, at least on the signing new addresses. Now, whether or not all those new lots and that we created during COVID are being sold back and forth between people, but yeah, new addresses we've gone down quite a bit on.
Oddly enough, if you've driven through Broadview,
Mhm.
there's houses going about there.
Mhm.
I thought that was kind of odd.
Oh yeah. Yeah, a lot of the Billings people are kind of coming up that way. For the most part, we're kind of full for.
Yeah, we don't have a place to put them.
Yep. So they're going elsewhere. Or,
It's nothing from Broadview to Billings,
No.
that's just nothing.
And surprisingly, it's a better road because you don't have to deal with.
With all the traffic,
Holy crap!
I always take that when I go in.
Yep.
Yeah, that Comanche Flats, they really built a bunch in there, and there's no damn water,
Right.
but they live with it.
Yeah, they just go into that filling station right inside Billings.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Come right back up. Yep.
God, that's gonna be a pain in the butthole and all
Right. Otherwise, I think that was kind of our week in a nutshell.
Yeah.
No new fancy gadgets on your wish list?
There's
I
gotta
could,
be-
I could, I could embarrass Darren a
that.
little
No,
bit.
we don't need to talk about what you got for cat camp, no.
So my fancy dancy poop bucket came in today.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
good
A
deal.
5-gallon bucket with a lid is all it is. So
For,
poop bucket to go in the work truck.
oh, I see.
I thought it was for the office.
No.
Oh, no.
That'd be a little uncomfortable, a little awkward.
It would be a little bit. No.
Wouldn't look as professional either.
No, basically that was just a smart butt saying that we are ordering kind of the last of the supplies and that for the start of
Gotcha.
fire season, and so we got a bunch of tools, equipment, PPE that have been ordered here in the last week as well.
We'll have to do our fire orders here pretty quick.
How many
Yes,
drone
okay.
usage, noteworthy drone usage?
Not from
The-
us.
The last usage I think was for the road department a couple weeks ago. They use it to fly, do some damage assessments.
I'm just glad you're getting some use of it.
Mhm. Yep. And then on the drone front, it's kind of funny. So, one of our pilots, Darren Gebhardt, so he flies the exact same type of drone for his company. Well, they're looking at getting another one, and with the Trump tariffs on the drones, China basically, as an FU to the tariffs, they're half price now of what when we ordered them.
Of course.
Oh,
Oh,
gee.
come on.
Yep, they cut the price so much on them, so even with the tariffs,
It's cheaper.
it's cheaper than
I love it.
before the tariffs.
Wow, there's an unintended consequence.
Uh-huh.
Good for China.
We're getting money on them and we're getting them cheaper.
Yep,
That's almost brilliant.
it almost is. So, so trade wars, could have some benefits to us.
That's a really one I didn't have.
Take advantage of it.
Right?
Yeah.
Pay less for your drone and then get more tariff money coming in at the same time.
Yep.
Stupid.
Order a whole fleet of them.
But for America, that's a net plus.
It is.
Yeah.
It doesn't encourage manufacturing in America. It means that
That's what
it means that we're
we're
probably paying way too much for those drones.
To begin with, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, what's the saying? Or the cost the Chinese, it was like $15 to build an iPhone that costs us $1,000.
Right.
Think about that.
So
Yeah.
I mean, since they have all the electronic manufacturing over there and that, so yeah, those drones are probably, I'd probably say $1,000 maybe for them to build, and then they sell them for 35,000.
Yeah.
A bowl of rice is all it takes.
Exactly. A little bit of soy
Somebody
sauce
going
too,
on that.
but otherwise, yeah, that's kind of it. Darren's gonna be the on-call guy. I'm gonna be up in Bozeman this weekend, so.
You got money on Duke? Is that good deal?
I-
Oh, you don't have to answer that. You don't.
Oddly enough, I don't for once. This is one year where I didn't fill out a bracket, anything. This is probably their best chance of winning in a while, so.
I remember I used to have a blast during that work, March Madness.
Oh yeah, there's been some pretty good games. They almost had a really big upset last night. Texas Tech almost lost to Arkansas. Arkansas was a 10 seed, and they were up 15 at one point, and then the game ended up going into overtime, and Tech won by 2. So that was a good game. And
Like I tell Darren, though, the unintended consequences. So I hate Duke with a passion. Not because I hate the basketball team. It's because my neighbors put up a Duke flag.
Oh, no.
So my wife instantly went out and bought a Gonzaga flag that I had to put up.
Now, when I was in college, we actually went to it's in Spokane,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Spokane, Washington, in March Madness in Gonzaga. My friend's sister was going to school there. What a blast.
Oh god, it is so much fun. They, it's a beautiful school. It has changed so much from when Val graduated to now. I mean, the amount of new buildings and the size of the classes and that, like, it's just grown so much. But I liked it because one of my good friends was in the pep band. So they would always sneak me in with the band. I'd be carrying in the trumpets.
Okay.
So I got into a couple games free that way. It was awesome. And then my one claim to fame that I could do, I made Adam Morrison. He was on the Gonzaga men's team there when they were really good.
Yeah. He went to the NBA. He was like a top 5 pick.
I made him rage quit in softball.
Rage quit.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you do that?
So the men's basketball team had a softball team, and I was a ringer. I didn't go to Gonzaga, but they made me an ID too. And so I played intramural softball. I would come over every weekend and play. And I cranked 2 home runs off of him. And oh man, he just rage quit into the dugout. And it was awesome. Rung Turiops over there just, I was like, it's all right.
Well, yeah, not many people can say that.
Nope. That's my one claim to fame.
It's a good one.
So, all right. Well, any questions, directives, anything for us?
We'll expect a report out on the book next week.
I'm gonna put together a test.
Yeah.
We'll do a weekly test. I'll throw out 10 random. And
Oh, you got this. You're our only shot.
every week you can win up to $10.
Say it. There you go.
Not taxpayer dollars.
Correct. Personal.
No, we'll take
funds.
it out of the federal minimum money.
There you go.
Good catch.
There you
I'm
go.
joking, obviously, I'm being recorded, I'm joking.
Right.
No,
I
thank
think
you for this.
YouTube land is starting to learn the sense of humor. I think we're okay.
I think so.
Yeah. We've
Well,
had
you know what,
zero
we're-
audit findings. We're good.
Acronyms are kind of interesting though, because when I was in they call it the demilitarization, where they're getting rid of chemical, they spoke in acronyms. And once you figured out what the acronyms meant, you started to understand,
Oh,
hey, this is what they're talking about.
Yep.
And what did we hear today? Here's a new term for you, rebuttable presumptions.
What?
You're gonna work that in and what that means
Use
is,
that in a sentence.
in our sense, if somebody submits an ag exempt request, we can deny it if we have valid rebuttable presumptions. And I just think that's a wonderful term.
Gotcha.
It's a gotcha.
So if somebody
So-
comes to you for a permit, you can say, you know what, I've got a few rebuttable presumptions.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's serious.
Should've done that to the guy the other day that didn't have a phone number.
Yeah. That was funny.
I can tell I stymied you guys on that.
Mike, on the personal side, did those reports work okay for your insurance?
They have so far.
Okay.
All right.
Appreciate it.
No problem. Well, you guys have a wonderful day. Enjoy the weekend.
You too.
Enjoy the snow.
No,
3 inches of snow tomorrow night, I think, is what they say.
Great, it just hit for the weekend, wonderful.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Ground and melt.
All right.
See you guys.
Okay.
Everything we're getting care of.
What was the name of the company who was talking about zoning?
So it's WWC.
WWC Engineering?
Yep,
Okay.
You know what WWC stands for?
Western
No.
Water.
That's how I know how to get it right. I think I said it wrong.
What is it? Western?
Western Water Consultants. I always thought it was WCC. It's like, no, WWC, Western Water Consultants.
Yep,
Okay.
I knew their phone number. I give it out a lot,
yeah.
That was really, to me, that was a very productive discussion.
It's very interesting.
And it just goes to show that whole
You want a
thing.
hat?
that whole thing is a specialty knowledge. I think
It
you're
is.
probably really up to speed on all of that
No,
stuff.
I'm not. I mean, you know, me and Cheryl both, we know a little bit, but that's why, I mean, I call them all the time and say, hey, you know, this or that, or that and this, so.
Cause it's not the most exciting thing, but it's kinda like, yeah, they're gonna check it for this, and it's like,
Well, I
okay.
could see there'd be a lot of ways that people would try to worm their way
Exactly,
to go in the back way and try to get
but
it.
these guys can pick up on that.
Yeah,
They seem
Yeah.
to have a sense of that.
Crazy.
Real family.
crazy stuff. I like the one where, what was it, the husband and wife, and then
And
he could
Yeah.
whittle it out, and she could, and
well, he took her off the deed.
took her off the deed, and then she could pick it back up, and I'm like,
Right.
wait a minute, that's gotta be.
Well, it's really complicated when you're already a business, you know, and I'm not gonna say, anyhow, LLC or something, where
Yeah,
you don't actually, you own the LLC, but
but,
LLC is all the members.
yeah, and usually it's a family,
Yeah,
and then the family's gonna cut it out and give it to the, wait a minute. It's all legal and it's all weird and, but it's not legal and.
Well, that's kinda
Something
like,
wrong
you know,
with
but
Denmark,
that
yeah.
ag exemption is, it's a county ag exemption, it really doesn't, it does not lower their taxes, cause ag land is ag land, period.
Right.
But when they wanna put a house on it, well, they can get back out of it, they said that. Like I said, the conservation easement I put on, you can't get back out of it, it's permanent.
well, what he brought up was the whole issue of, so you approve this because you can't really question their intent,
Yeah,
and then they violate it. Well,
Right.
then who's watching their violations? Well, nobody really, other than their
Nobody,
neighbors.
yeah.
yeah, that's right.
You can't
Looks
keep
like
track of
maybe
all
it's a
that.
David Turley coming in here saying, hey, what these guys are doing is not right.
So you have to rely upon their neighbors or somebody who's really interested in what's going on.
And then we have to care enough to do something.
Pursue it, you know. It's a
But you
full-time
can
job.
declare an ag exemption, there is places like the governor did in Bozeman, he had 60 or 80 acres
Yeah,
there. And he declared an ag exemption on what didn't have his house on it. And he did have a lower taxes because that was considered land that could be built on, see?
Yeah, it wasn't ag land, so the property taxes were
Yeah,
higher,
yeah.
the real estate taxes.
Yeah,
Uh,
but out here, our ag land, it's not gonna reduce.
Yeah, there's not a lot of other type of property.
Fingerprints,
so-
right?
Right.
And then they invented that technology and they solved all kinds of crimes because of
Crazy.
fingerprints.
Crazy stuff.
You know, and
Well, now we've got DNA.
well, and then there was the emergence of DNA, so we caught all kinds of guys that otherwise would have never been caught. Well, now, electronics are so common that people don't even think about them. They just disappeared into the background. And home security video systems, you know, you used to have to
Oh,
put
yeah.
tapes in them and change the tapes. Well, now you buy your 5 terabyte hard drive and the thing records for 60 or 90 days before it loops back out and goes over itself.
Mhm.
So if you have a suspect and you're going, well, where'd this person go?
Mhm.
Or we know about when this happened, how do we determine who it is?
Right.
Law enforcement, and it involves a lot of time, it involves a lot of footwork, goes, okay, well, here's where we suspect the route was. So,
What kind of surveillance?
yeah,
do we have?
who has cameras? Let's go knock on every door that has a visible camera. Hey, does that camera work? And only about half of them do.
Yeah.
Okay, but of the half that do, and these things, they're not hooked up to the internet or anything, so there's not any easily accessible database. But by utilizing those cameras, I can effectively track you. If I put in the footwork, I could track you going down to the hardware store, picking something up.
Yeah.
I can tell you what you bought, what time you bought it, how much you paid for it. I can then see you going down to Van Dyke's to buy a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread, who you talked to while you were there,
Mhm.
and then, you know, turning around and heading out of town back to your house. And
you know, then based on speed limits and everything else, I can anticipate what time it was you got back to your
It
house.
just isn't fair to have crime anymore, it's just,
It's crazy.
Well, and-
track everybody everywhere.
Well, I mean, yeah, and
With your phones and cameras and. I
and
mean,
that's
it's
before we even
crazy.
get to your phone, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Your
I
phone
mean,
GPS.
I mean, so it's really interesting, and I mean, it's in the fine print, right? When you buy your phone, and every time you log in for a new app. So my phone, as I walk around town or as I drive around town, one, it's got a GPS on it, but two, my phone is always looking for a Wi-Fi.
Correct.
Okay, and so, and my phone keeps a record of that, and so does their Wi-Fi, and so I can track where you went, and every single house in town has Wi-Fi, because everyone has internet TV.
right.
And so I can track when your phone was hitting what Wi-Fi as you drive through town,
Ooh.
and, you know, if it's hitting it on this side of the street and that side of the street, you know, we can pretty much assume that you're going down the street, and if it's hitting this one at this time, that one at that time, it's a simple distance, rate, time evaluation to determine even how fast you were going.
That's right.
And that's before we even look at your phone. And I mean, you know, in the 1970s, everybody was worried the government was going to be looking over their shoulder for
Well, guess
everything,
what?
and everybody
Another
load.
reason not to have a phone.
Well, everybody low-jacked themselves voluntarily.
Mm-hmm, they did indeed.
And instead of giving that information to the government, they're giving it
To
to,
everybody.
yeah, they're giving it to everyone.
Easily.
They're giving it to this corporation and every corporation associated with every app you have on your phone
Mhm.
that's asking you, when you get the app, do you want this app to be able to share your location?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, just can't get away with nothing anymore, damn it.
You cannot. Why do you want
I don't know.
everybody to know where you are every second of every day that you have that phone?
Mhm.
No, I'm not gonna have a phone until they
Well, I
drive me
grew up
kicking and
when I
screaming
did.
into it. No.
Because I've been in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Well, geez, I mean, I don't know about you guys when you were younger.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what kind of stupid stuff you'd have recorded on video?
Hey, Mom, watch
You
me.
know, I mean, me and my buddies, the stupid stuff we were doing. I mean, oh yeah, we've been
Stupid dumb
videotaping.
stuff in the woods, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, wonder what happens if we shoot that thing at propane. Nothing good.
Nothing
happens.
good.
But it would have made a great video.
Maybe, great video, hey, watch this. No,
Yeah, I'm sure it would have.
makes criminals even more stupid than before because you could see everything.
You'd think, but man, they just keep doing it.
Oh, nobody will catch me.
Well, the problem is the legwork associated with tracking all that stuff down,
Yeah, it makes it hard.
right?
Yeah.
You gotta agree.
Because you still have to do, like, I mean, the sheriff's department still has to do all the other things sheriff's departments do. You know, they gotta serve jurors, they gotta enforce traffic regulations, they got calls coming in because they got two people yelling, fighting and screaming at each other down at a bar,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
You know, I mean, they got paperwork to do, they got me calling them up about some nonsense or another.
Mhm.
You know, and I mean, so at that point in time, it becomes, you know, a man hours available
Yeah.
question, right? Because there's, I mean, even if you're really, really efficient, there's only so much you can do. But worked out this time. I was happy with it.
Just one guy?
This time,
No, okay. Good,
just one suspect, we'll say. Just one suspect.
okay.
Enough said.
That trailer court up there is a mess.
Yeah.
Where's this trailer court at?
It's up above,
I'll let you.
87, it's up north of there. 14th Avenue.
It's north of, it's even north of the hospital?
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
right up there. I knew a lady who used to live up in there and oh, that's just a mess.
Yeah.
Horrible place to live.
Condo was the Cedar Park Homes, and for a while in that meeting, a third of the cars had evidence tape on the doors. Cause you
No.
can't get that evidence tape off for